Welcome everybody, hope you're doing well today. We're joined with none other than Landon of the Plot in You. Dude, how's life going, man? It's been a minute.
It's good. I've been home for like a little over a month, so it's been nice. I've just been recording a band's album and just kind of taking it easy.
Ooh, recording a band's album. Any band, you probably
Yeah.
got to keep it shush shush or...
No, actually, I can say it's this band Until I Wake. They're a
Oh,
Fearless
sick.
Records band. Yeah, so I've had them in for like the last 3.5 weeks. We're almost done with the record, so
That's
yeah,
sick, man. Dude, I
yeah,
always forget that, like, you're a producer along with doing, like, crazy fucking vocals for not just the Plot in You, but then also you have a solo project. Like, you're a busy guy. you're
yeah.
you're cooking, man. How do you kind of, I guess, balance all of that stuff? Because it's a lot of projects, a lot of things to be doing at the same time.
Well, I mean, I don't work a 9 to 5 on top of it. This is my only job, so I guess it's not really as hard to manage. When I'm on tour, it's fully just that, and when I'm home, it's just songwriting and producing. So it's a pretty easy balance, honestly. I haven't been doing a whole lot of solo stuff the last like year and a half, just because I've been trying to get more into the producing world. But so yeah, it's kind of like my different things have gotten a little thinner, I guess.
Right. Well, it's
Yeah.
it's always fun, I mean, because I've been following the Plot in You for a minute and following just
Mhm.
your work too, and it's fun because you guys throw the fuck down in such a modern, crazy, heavy way. And we're gonna get to like the new track you guys threw like a month ago or
Thanks, dude.
so. I want to talk about some of that stuff, but
For
also
sure.
you're such a good singer, man. Like you have such a you
Thanks.
have that like R&B type voice, but you add that grit to it when you need like. Where did that, I guess, distinction and also separation come in? Because I know the Plot in You, you've kind of always blended those two worlds. But
Mhm.
like, have you thought about, besides just doing a solo project, like it seems like you want to do a bunch of different things and different outlets. Like, where's, I guess, your mindset when it comes to, I want to do heavy as fuck versus I want to do, more like poppy, top 40 type vibes. Like, how do you blend all of that and pick where you want to go?
Well, I'm like a big pop guy in general.
Right.
That's always been kind of like my go-to anytime I want to listen to like anything. I like pop music a lot. And as far as like the heavy stuff goes, especially these days, it's like if we're gonna go down one lane, I'd rather just go 100% down that lane than
Right.
like try to balance the two because I
Yeah.
don't feel like that's my strongest suit. Like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of trying to merge those worlds like I don't know. I'd rather
Yeah.
just do one or the other these days. You know what I mean? Like if we're
Right.
gonna do a straight up just catchy like pop influenced rock song, let's just go all out with that. Let's not force some heavy breakdown that doesn't make sense just for the sake of doing it. You know what
Thank
I
you.
mean?
On behalf of the metal scene, thank you.
Yeah. And yes, and vice versa for the heavy stuff. It's like I don't like maybe every now and then we'll throw in like if it makes sense for the song, there will be a chorus with some singing, but like I don't know. I'm not a big fan of just like random out of nowhere singy choruses and then back to heavy verse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'd rather just do one or the other, to put
I
it
think a lot
simply.
of bands struggle with that nowadays because there's
Yeah.
a part of them that wants to, especially if they were originally like a very heavy band, like they want to
Yeah.
keep some of that, but then they also want to explore and do more things outside of metal or like more of
Hmm.
a huge type chorus thing, and they always are like the song has to have both, but the problem is then no one's happy. Usually,
Exactly.
right? Because
100%.
it has the chorus, but then the song's too heavy for people that just want a nice vibe track, and then it
Totally.
has some of the heavy, but then it like doesn't go all in when people are like, give us like we want an aggressive gym track, like
Yeah, I
it's
think I
weird.
think it honestly has appeased the fans more too. Not even like on purpose. I think it was just something that kind of happened on accident. Like the fans of our band that like the rock songs, they
Hmm.
get like 100% that when we put that out, and then
Right.
the heavy fans they get 100% of that. So, and the people that don't like one or the other, it's like, well, I can just wait a song or two, and I'm sure they'll go back to what I like. You know what I mean?
I can, I can
Like
wait a
honestly.
song or two.
Yeah.
How is that balance for you when it comes, I guess, to a fan base that does like those two like extremes? I guess like is it pretty
It's
easy for y'all to do that
it's
now?
it's been weird. I feel like honestly the heavier songs have been doing better, which I wasn't
Hmm.
expecting that, which is cool. Like
Right.
I like writing heavy stuff, so I don't really care. Um, but yeah, honestly, I think it's more fun from a songwriter's perspective too. Again, like rather than trying to force these things to balance,
Yeah.
just be like, just go all out on one or the other.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying like we'll always do that and that'll be every song in every case, but like at least for right now, that's been the way I've been enjoying writing. So
Yeah.
it's kept the challenge more exciting, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, because their bands can do it well and they have the surprises,
Hmm.
but a lot of bands don't, and that's the scary part.
Yeah,
Is it's like the
for
like
sure.
I'm sure you, especially on your production side, maybe you have to deal with some of those, like this band that wants to be like throw down, but then they also are like, but we have to get the radio or the octane play, and it's like,
Yeah,
bro, okay, this is a lot harder than you think than just put the
totally.
breakdown in the song with the clean choruses. That's not how it works
Yeah,
nowadays.
100%. Yeah,
Um,
especially with radio and stuff like that. They're really, really picky about like how much heaviness you can have in a
yeah,
song and
number
stuff
of
like that.
double
Not that I,
kicks,
yeah,
like.
not that I give a shit about that, but like I guess like in general, if you are trying to target that market or whatever, like you're gonna run into some issues if you do try to balance those two things. I don't know. It's a whole stupid thing, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's true because yeah, I love checking you guys out because of that. Like I love both of the sides that you guys throw on the more like R&B pop
Thank
side, and
you.
then you'll throw down like just fucking piss. But like you guys, like
Yeah.
you say, you go all in, which I think that's just what people like want to kind of hear is like, okay, here's the heavy track. Oh, it's actually like it's for the gym, or here's like the vibe
Hmm.
track. I can do it, like, and just vibe out, enjoy, have the catchy chorus, and be happy. And
For sure.
it allows people to also like conceptualize and separate songs in a modern day way of consuming, which is like through playlisting, right?
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
this is what happens. Fans listen to a single and they'll be like, oh, this is for like when I want to go to the gym, or this is when I want to vibe, and they'll just put the song there instead of worrying about necessarily like the whole bigger picture, or even nowadays like consuming an album. And I love that you
Totally.
guys are able to satisfy the emotions properly for what people want, and they can just pick and choose. Oh, perfect. Okay, yep, this is for this, this is for this is for this. Great. And I'm sure
For
it
sure.
also even helps overall, like that's the streaming numbers and all that, and makes the band,
Hmm.
funny enough, probably appeal to a wider audience. I'm
Yeah, I think
assuming
so
with that.
too. Honestly, I feel very grateful too that our label has kind of allowed us to like go against the grain as far as just like putting out albums.
Yeah,
At least for this cycle, they're kind of letting us experiment with just putting out singles and spreading them out,
yeah,
which has been cool because I've been able to put like an album's worth of attention into like two or three songs at a time,
yeah.
split like months apart. I don't have to like sit down for a month and try to come up with 10 songs, or you know what I mean? Like that's just not fun. It's like anti creative, like at
Yeah,
least to me. Like I don't like
it's
that.
a lot of
I don't
pressure
like that
to.
pressure. Yeah, the pressure, especially I write all the stuff like pretty much by myself.
Oh
So yeah,
shit.
so it's been
Okay.
like yeah, over the last 2 years, I kind of just write whenever I'm in the mood to for
Right.
plot, which has been so nice because you're just not always going to be in the mood to write stuff,
Yeah.
at least like for a specific thing. So it's been cool. I've been fortunate to also work with a bunch of bands and artists over the last 2 years that have like given me a lot of different perspective, like on their way of songwriting and how they approach stuff. And I think that's kind of like bled into the way that I do things and stuff. So yeah, very grateful for Fearless for giving me the freedom to kind of create in this medium because it's been really really beneficial, I think. And again, like just being able to spend like X amount of time on just a smaller form release has just been like a godsend. I don't ever want to do an album again. I think I've said that a thousand times, but
Well,
I
it's
don't like doing
as
it.
a musician, it's so sad when you put all the equal amounts of time in all of these songs, and it's just how
Hmm.
consumption goes. And I know there's millions of people that are always like, "I want the album." I'm pissed when a band releases 3 out of the 12 songs because I want it all at one time. And I see the comments too, like I purposely don't listen to the singles so I can just listen to the album. That's cool. Like okay,
Yeah.
go ahead, but that's like when people look at album streams, it's very obvious. Singles set 5, 10, 7,
Yep.
15 times the plays as the non-singles. And it's sad
Dude,
because
100%.
the artists put probably the same amount of effort in all the
Yep.
songs, but you just have to accept that half of the songs, just 1/10 of your audience will care about, and that's it. And that's so sad.
I think that yeah, that was kind of a realization I had with our last album. There were like I think there were like three or four songs on that album that weren't singles that were some of my favorites that
Right.
just like no one gave a shit about. I'd never
Right.
heard anybody talk about those songs, and I was just like, what a waste. You know what I mean? Like that's such a bummer. So
Yeah.
yeah, I had to fight pretty hard to like get things to be this way, and we kind of tested the waters with it was a Forgotten, Left Behind, and Divide. They
Dude.
let us try it out, and those ended up being three of our biggest songs. So I was like, okay, can I please keep doing things this way? Because like this is how I prefer to do it. And
Right.
so again, we're still kind of like in a trial period, but yeah, yeah, it's been awesome. I hope we can keep continuing at least like smaller releases. It doesn't have to be like 1 to 3 at a time, like,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, I think doing
Yeah, that's
things
so
this
much
way just,
more just antagonizing for bands, the usual, okay,
mhm.
2 year album cycle, then you go on tour for a year and then you rush writing to get the next thing
Yep.
and then you tour all those songs again, and it's just it's so draining for
Another,
musicians.
for sure. Another cool thing too is doing things this way. You can kind of like gauge how things are working, like what
Yes.
singles are, what's connecting with the audience, what people are kind of leaning into. And not that you always want to like take what other people think into consideration, but it is kind of something to be a little bit mindful of and be like, okay, well, this is the kind of content that people connect with. And if I want to, I can lean into that a little bit more. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's cool to be doing things like I'm currently writing songs that will probably come out like later in the summer,
Ooh.
so which is cool. I mean, I don't know for sure, maybe,
Maybe,
but
maybe.
but it's nice to know like I don't have to sit on a record for a year before it comes out. And by the time it comes out, I'm sick of it
That's
already.
so
You know what I'm saying?
exhausting too. I
Yeah, that
bet.
sucks. It's always such a bummer. Almost every record we've put out, by the time it's out, I've written a whole other album that I'm way more stoked on and wish
Yeah.
I could substitute.
And then you have to tour it too for the year, and you're just like,
Exactly. Yeah. Then
fuck
I gotta
that.
play these
Yeah.
dumbass songs.
I'm
Yeah.
done. Yeah, and I'm glad. I love it going that way. Like I said, there's a lot of people that just love the consumption of albums, like as a full
Yeah.
thing, and that's cool. But it's
Yeah.
very exhausting practice for musicians to have to
Totally.
do that in the modern age, especially when all it takes is just one song to go dummy on whatever, or go hilarious
Hmm.
like just TikTok and go boom, and it'd
Totally.
be a big thing, and then the band's in so many new levels instead of worrying about when's the album.
Dude, I'm one of those people that like can't really listen to an album all the way through. I can't even remember the last album I listened to front to back. I don't like listening to the same vocalist for that long. My attention span,
Same
I just can't.
focus.
I really can't. Even with features and stuff, I'm just like, God, I need something different after like 4 or 5 songs. You know what I
That's
mean?
weird. Dude, your feature with
Um,
that, I think when I had you on last time, I talked about your Darko feature. Dude, that was fucking
oh, that was
mad.
fun.
That
Yeah.
was nasty, man.
Yeah, they're awesome. That band is doing some like really special shit for the metal world.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I love about metal. Is there's not as much. Just it doesn't seem like there's rules. It's just do
Hmm.
whatever the fuck. And if it's a, top 40 beat, or if it's a reggaeton, knock loose fucking breakdown like their new track, like
Hmm.
they'll just why not just combine these things and see what happens.
Yeah.
And people seem more open to these ideas. But also bands are better at it because the 2010s to the that era, bands were
Yeah.
kind of figuring it out. And it was a
Hmm.
scary era, I think, for a lot
Totally.
of music.
Dude, I think heavy music right now is kind of the most innovative it's ever been, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I feel like I'm seeing bands like heavier bands do shit like every other week that I'm like, holy shit, like that's like that actually feels fresh and like unique. Whereas like you said, like years ago it was like, okay, like we get it, we've heard this 1,000 times over. It could
Yeah.
not have gotten more stale. But yeah,
You
I'm
think
like
crapcore is going to
actually
come back at this point?
I you never know. Anything's possible.
It's the new metal revival, the 2000s revival right now. We're waiting for the 2010s
Yeah.
revival. That's going to be fucked, dude.
Hey, the pop punk shit came back hardcore, so
It
you
did.
never know.
Dude, even top
Anything
40,
could,
it came back
yeah,
like pop punk but sad. Like
yeah,
there's a few tracks on there which is like it's pop post punk or whatever people want to call it, and it's vibes and synths, and it's has that vibe, and it's like it's big and mainstream and kind of in the alternative scene now. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
like
It's weird.
it's very weird, man. It's very, but
It's cool though.
I want to talk about, because when you guys started the roll up for this new stuff, you got Forgotten Out. Now,
Hmm.
that music video is fucked up, Landon. So we
Yeah,
need some backstory here on this, because I remember watching this on stream and I'm like, I'm about to get banned.
yeah.
So
That's been
yeah,
no. Go ahead.
it was what I guess what is the vibe, the thought process? How do you, you weren't the videographer, right? You had a videographer for that.
Hmm.
Okay, how do
Yeah.
you explain this to a videographer? That's always, it's when I even talk with like about Darko and stuff. I'm like, how do you guys on paper be like, this is what we need on this, and then you let them cook and they cook what the fuck, crazy visuals you see? Like, what is that process for a song like that?
So the guy's name's George. I'm not gonna try to pretend like I remember how to pronounce his last name.
Mm.
He's from shit, I think it's like Brazil. I'm pretty sure it's Brazil.
Come to Brazil.
But anyways, so yeah, he's just a crazy creative guy, and our label showed us like a couple videos that he had done before, and we thought they looked really good. And so that they were like, we were kind of on a time crunch. We needed to pick someone to do a video,
Yeah.
and we're like, he's definitely the best out of all these options that we had. And we gave him like, I don't know, maybe like 10 to 15 like ideas, like just scenes from movies and like color palettes and, things like that to kind of go off of as inspiration.
Mm.
And, yeah, so he kind of took what we did and just made it something completely different, totally his own. And his first video was Divide, and it was just incredible. So after that, we were like, dude, just take the reins, like do
Just
whatever you
go.
want. Like, yeah. So I wish I could say we were more involved in the newer stuff, especially, but he completely took the reins. And at this point, like, I don't even care to give him notes. Like, I just trust him 100%.
Yeah.
And like, I've talked to him a lot, like on the side too, about
Yeah.
just like feeling out like concepts and stuff. He's very interested to know the meanings behind all of the songs and stuff like that, which is pretty rare. It's very rare that
Right.
a videographer asks for like lyrics and stuff like that, or like the deeper meaning, or at least what I interpret it
Yeah.
as being, and then like kind of incorporates that into it. But I kind of feel that way with most forms of art. If you respect somebody and the way that they do things, like don't like micromanage them or like,
Yeah.
try to get in the way of their vision, even down to like tattoos and stuff like that. It's just like if you like their art, just let them
Let them
cook, let them
cook.
have fun with it.
Yeah.
It's always going to turn out way sicker than if you try to get your hands all over it and stuff. Because I'm not a video guy, I'm not even a visual guy at all. So
Mm.
I'm very thankful that we found someone that completely gets
Mm.
us and like what we're the message that we're trying to get across, especially visually.
Yeah, because it's especially when you
Yeah,
have a song like that, which I didn't expect. Like, I mean, again, you guys go dummy heavy when you need, but especially I remember that song dropping. I'm like, oh fuck, it's just like it's if this is angry, this is piss, and
yeah,
that song is and Don't Look Away too. You like
yeah.
the vocal performance you're throwing down, man, with some of those screams. I love the right before the breakdowns, the pre-breakdown callouts you got thrown down here. How important are pre-breakdown callouts for you? Because you're a little connoisseur with some of these right here.
The first one was like Forgotten was kind of unintentional. There was an instrumental part underneath
Oh,
like the
okay.
vocal break. And then last minute I was like right before we were supposed to like put in our last mix notes, I was like, what if you just took that entire part out?
Oh fuck.
And we tried it and I was like, okay, let's see how that goes. That excites me. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
And dude, when I do vocals at home, especially, I do it like in a very unhealthy way.
Okay.
Push like in ways that you're not supposed to. There's no
Hmm.
technique to it at all. It's just straight up just yelling as hard and as loud as I possibly can.
Okay.
I almost always lose my voice. Um,
Okay.
and that was kind of the same thing with Don't Look Away too. It was just no technique whatsoever, just yelling and
Well, and
hurting
dude, in that
myself.
one, and when I was checking it out, like one of the funnest part is you hear your voice crack during that scream at
Mhm.
the end, and it's like, oh fuck, like that's some menacing shit because it's
Thanks.
it's not because there's a voice crack. It's not that perfectness, but it adds to the excitement because it has the rawness to it. And I could tell right when you say that fuck, you're like, oh damn, we're out, we're done. It is,
Yeah,
it's
that was the very last vocal take. I was like, I'm just gonna go as hard as possible on this last one and call it a fucking month. I'm not doing anything vocally for a long time.
jeez, man. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
with those, like, are you are you big on the pre-breakdown callouts? Because I think nowadays, especially, like that shit goes wild live, and I haven't seen you guys live, but if you've thrown down some of those songs, I'm sure it's like that's the moment,
It's
right?
cool. Yeah, yeah, especially live. It's been really fun to like those moments and stuff like that. Because in the past, we'd never done much like that. Maybe like a couple, like in the early days, but
Right.
it's been a long, long time since we had like moments that were not even, I guess, not even intentionally for like crowd participation or whatever. It just kind
Yeah.
of ended up being that, which was cool. That was like something we'd never really experienced. So yeah, it was pretty special, especially the first few times playing it at festivals and stuff. Like hearing big audiences sing those parts was pretty cool.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's I don't know how much more I'll experiment with it in the future. I don't want to
Don't want to
like
overdo it.
run it into the ground or whatever. But yeah,
Well,
I,
it's
I always look for like special little moments like that where I can do something that's somewhat memorable and kind of cool and tickles the ear a little bit.
Right. Do you have any bands that
Yeah.
you're throwing down within the modern metal scene? Because like you said, there's a lot of bands doing weird shit now.
I just heard of this band. I think they're called Diamond Construct. I don't know if you've heard of
Yeah,
them.
the
They're really
whammy
cool.
DT pedal fucking core. I love
Yeah, I
that.
really like. I love the production on that stuff. I think Lance Prince. I think I'm saying that
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
The dude that does like Alpha Wolf and stuff. I'm pretty sure he does that, and I'm just a big fan of his work. Them. I'm trying to think. I do like all the new Darko stuff. It's really cool.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think. I've been listening to music a whole lot because I've been working on music a lot lately,
Right.
and I typically try to stay away from it. But that was definitely the Diamond Construct band. New Alpha Wolf stuff's awesome.
New
Always love
Alpha.
listening to them.
Yeah,
But
dude.
yeah,
Yeah, it
that whole
seems like
new era. No,
it
go ahead.
it seems like mixing is now more important than
It
like
is.
it's especially with like that pissed music. Like I just call it fucking
Yep.
pissed music, whatever, hardcore, modern metalcore, like just breakdown core. Like mixing is such an important part because you could throw down those same tracks in the 2000s and they would go, but it just
Hmm.
wouldn't have that smashed, compress in your face
For sure.
power that it does now, which is so wild. And the mix engineers and mixers, like they don't get a lot of credit, but like,
Dude, I know.
yeah,
Dude, Lance, the dude that does Diamond Construct,
mm,
Polaris, Alpha Wolf, that dude has literally just like completely created like almost a genre of its own just through his mix. Like
yeah,
it's actually he's like another member of those bands. Like he's a
right,
massive reason on why those bands are getting the recognition that they get. It's
yeah.
like such a signature cool sound. Like it's almost like he's just pushing that compressor as hard as
It's
as
so
hard as you possibly could,
it's so
which is
sick.
so cool. Just all of his little tricks and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
it's kind of like it kind of reminds me of like the Joey Sturgis era, where
yes,
he was like the fifth, sixth member of every single band that he worked with. You know what I mean? His
absolutely.
sound was a massive reason why those bands got huge. So it's cool to see like a lot of newer names now kind of like doing the same kind of thing.
Yeah,
And now there's multiple, there's not just one.
yeah, yeah. I know you produce plot. And you do you mix as well?
Yeah. I didn't mix the newest stuff that we did.
Hmm.
I heard the newest Limp Bizkit record. I don't know if you've listened to
Yeah,
that at
yeah.
all. Zach Cervini did that, or he
Zach.
mixed it at least. Yeah, he's awesome. So I heard that. I was like, dude, I don't care who did that. We got to find out today. I hit up our A&R at our label. I was like, we got to figure who mixed this.
Yeah,
And yeah, within like a week or two, we were connected with him and started like working on the process. So yeah, I'm a big fan of his.
dude, Zach's
So
so
yeah, he's
good.
doing all of our newer stuff for at least like the next couple releases.
Hmm.
And then I mean, I don't know what's going to happen after that, but I'm like I said, I'm a massive fan of his work.
Dude,
He's
Zach's
doing
the
some really
man.
cool shit.
He did my album, my Terminal album with Andy Sizik as a project I have, and
Oh, sick.
yeah, and he's fast, like he's very
Yeah, dude,
fast,
crazy fast.
like
I remember the first song we sent into him. I think he had a mix within like a day or two, which
yeah.
is like really unheard of. I was expecting to wait like months potentially. I was like, dude, this guy's doing every big band in the world. Like, there's no way we're a
Yeah,
priority by any means. But
yeah. Bring
yeah,
me like Architects. He's
yep.
fucking doing
Spirit
his.
Box now too. Yeah,
Yeah, right. Dan. I don't know if Dan still
yeah.
does the production, but yeah, Dan used to do Spiritbox, and then
Hmm.
Zach. It's like Zach Buster who's doing like a lot of the piss bands, and then
Yeah, I'm
fucking
also a huge Buster fan. I
dude,
love his work too.
Buster's
Yeah.
fun. Do you listen to Voljartson like Humanity's Last Breath?
Yes, I just got into
Yeah,
Viljarta like maybe like 2 or 3 months ago. I think somebody showed me some of it, and like I just keep coming back to it. That's another band I should have mentioned, a heavier band that I've been into.
dude, they
Like all
fuck.
three of his projects, honestly, I think are really cool in their
Mhm.
own way. They're like Humanity's Last Breath, I think Throne, right?
Yeah, Throne.
Yeah,
The
so cool. Just
Chad likes
like
to call it Spotify core because it always shows up in the up next after you play a
yeah,
song. It's always the
yeah,
Throne song.
yeah,
But
dude, he rocks.
yeah, he's wild. He's got Throne, and then Humanity's Last Breath is crazy. That's like I imagine if there is an apocalypse one day. Okay, that is the music you
That's
would.
yeah, that's the anthem for
Yeah,
sure.
that's the anthem in like the background that you're hearing. Like, oh fuck, like yeah,
100%.
we're going down. And Paul Shartza, man, him and Calais and the other boys in there. It's still like it's wild because that like Thal type music. It's
Hmm.
super gent kind of. It's like
Yeah,
a new age of that. But
yeah.
they were doing that so long ago, and
Hmm.
only kind of now getting like a recognition for how
Totally.
insane that music is and the style, and it's
I
fucking
wouldn't
weird.
even know where to begin writing a song like that. I can't wrap my head around it. None of it makes any sense to me, but it's so awesome.
It's yeah, their writer, their like guitarist Calais. He I worked with him on a couple of things, and he'll send me like what he does, and I'm like cook because like I don't know how your brain
Yeah,
works. It makes no fucking sense.
yeah,
Just cook.
yeah.
And when he sends you that shit, and you're just literally sitting there for like 10 minutes, going like, how how did your brain go to that? Like, what the fuck happened
Wild.
where you decided to do these chugs mixed in with these lead tremolo riffs that are in polymeter but also in 4/4 and have ambience, and then you do
Yeah.
it makes no fucking sense, but it you hear it and you're like, okay, I guess we're in
He must just be constantly microdosing DMT. He just has a little IV that's just putting little drops into his bloodstream every like 10 minutes.
it
That's the
has
only
to be.
thing that makes sense to me.
It fucking has to be because they're such wild dudes, and I love it because I'm now starting to hear in at least like modern metalcore, like the scene
Mhm.
finally upgraded from like gent breakdowns to thaw
Yeah.
breakdowns. It seems like
Hmm.
Invent
It's very
Animate,
sick.
Currents, and a lot of those bands are like
Yeah.
using that, and it sounds nice. It's refreshing. Even Silent Planet, I don't know if you heard their last record, but that's
Yeah.
like Super Bloom was wild because it had the synthwave electronics, but also just this huge modern feel to it with the riffs and the
Dude, yeah.
fall. Yeah,
I got to write with them actually like 5, 6 months ago. We
sick.
were kind of like, yeah, so I was out there for like a week. Their guitar player is so like watching him write stuff is so cool. He
Nick
just
is
like
wild.
play something like this, but like with a little influence of that, and he'll have like five different riffs ready to go just off the top of his head. I've never seen anything like it. He might
Dude,
be the most talented guitar player I've ever worked with. It was wild.
It's especially because I know that a lot of the earlier stuff, like they would be a bit more, like technical and like
Yeah,
showy off in that way because they could be and control it and
yeah,
still write good songs. But now, at
totally.
least with that last record, they like dialed it back so the riff has a lot less notes, but it hits
Hmm.
so much harder and it has so much more
Yeah,
impact. And yeah,
that mixed with the Buster mix is just like a match made in heaven.
dude, the fucking Buster mix with that, man.
I'm so
It's
happy that band is starting to pop off too. It's like they've
mhm.
been around for so long and have like done so many tours and had so many ups and downs. They deserve to finally have like a big moment.
Yeah,
I think it's going to stick for a long time too. I think,
dude. I
especially
sorry, go
if
ahead.
they keep moving in the direction that they're going in, like I think they're going to be doing some special shit in the next few years.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I knew
Yeah,
they were starting to pop off with that record when my mom, who doesn't listen to metal, said, "I heard, yeah, what's that band, Slant Plant, that you sometimes talk about?" And
yeah,
she's like, "Yeah, I heard. I was like at like a beach little bar, and they were and I was like, "What is this?" And they played that, and I asked them the name, and it was Silent Planet. I'm like, "You talking about
that's sick.
Silent Planet?" I'm like, "What the fuck? Like, how is this?"
Slint Plint.
Slant Planet? I'm like, it's when I was like, okay, my mom's telling me about this band. I'm like, okay, they're doing fine for themselves. They're
Yeah,
doing well. But I love
yeah, they're
again even
awesome.
that like industrial synthwave kind of
Yeah.
element that like them. New Bad Omens is also kind of throwing down some of that.
Hmm.
North Lane, like I like that bands are not scared to add heavy with weird, but
Hmm.
they can actually blend them now. Because if it was the 2010s,
Yeah.
it was a weird area of
Yeah,
trying to like
in a way that's not corny or like
yes,
yeah, it comes off, it's kind I kind of like attribute it to like back when bands were trying not to like throw shit like when Attack Attack was trying to like add like dancey elements,
yeah,
like and it was like a little corny.
yeah.
I mean, it worked for them. They made it work and stuff, but this is like they're kind of doing a similar-ish thing, but it like totally meshes like you were
Yeah.
saying. Like
It's
the
a
two
vibe.
actually make complete sense. Yeah,
It,
totally.
it it makes
It's really
sense.
cool.
Yeah,
Like that
are we getting
clubby
any
type.
dance party breaks into plotting you?
I don't think that'll ever happen.
No,
I don't know. I don't know. That's just not in my wheelhouse. I don't think. I don't like dancing.
you don't like. Oh, okay. You're just,
I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to see anybody dancing in my show.
just just pure fucking moshing and then singing
Yeah,
along. The perfect mixture.
exactly.
What are you
That's all.
throwing down with? I guess like I know you said you listen to pop music. Like, are you into top 40 nowadays and stuff like that, and like keeping up with whatever fun shit comes out of that?
Somewhat, yeah. I tend to listen to like most newer pop albums that come out, at least like skim through things
Hmm.
and like kind of just see where I guess like the production's at and like what kind of sounds are cool at the moment.
Do you have anything
I do
production wise that's like nerding you out right now that you're like,
Oh
oh,
yeah, the Caroline Polachek, I think is how you say it. Have you heard of her?
no.
She's like a pop artist that has. You should just check her out. It's hard to explain,
Okay,
but it's
okay.
so cool. This other artist, Noga Erez, I believe she's from Israel or something like that.
Sick.
But she's doing really, really cool stuff, like just really bizarre, abstract production stuff like that. I don't know if you've heard of Tommy Cash.
Yeah, I've
I'm
seen
pretty
Tom.
sure he's from the Ukraine. He just does like really bizarre, like club type music, and also just like really obscure, dark pop type stuff.
Right.
Um, those are like whenever I'm like really wanting inspiration as far as like production and stuff like that goes, those
Mhm.
are kind of the things I tend to go to. I try to stay away from like more modern metalcore type stuff,
Yeah.
unless it's like friends bands that come out with things and stuff. I don't want to be like too heavily influenced by that kind of stuff. But
Right.
yeah, lately I've been kind of on the hunt for newer things because, like I said, I've been just kind of working, doing music type stuff for
Yeah.
like very consistently. So the last thing I really want to do after work is like just sit down and jam a record or something, So
It's, that dude,
yeah,
that's why I force myself when we're streaming every Friday. I'm like, no matter what, we're checking out the new music. Like we're just going,
yeah,
even if I'm like, if I was writing, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, we're checking out new music, keeping it consistent because it's so
hmm
important to always
it
just
is
like, even if you're not like the happiest with what's going on sometimes in the scene, you're like, okay, like this is what's at least happening. And sometimes you'll get one of
yeah, it's
those
cool
like,
to be aware.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like, oh, well, that's a bit. What's that fucking noise? Oh, is that they're using some synth? Are we still doing splice? Are we on something fucking new? Like, where are we going with like
yeah,
samples and shit? Right. So
for sure.
it's always fun to keep up. But yeah,
I do for sure. I do love keeping up with like the trends of like production and like
yeah,
what like sound libraries different bands and artists are using and like like arcade and stuff like that, like what new packs just came out and like I don't know,
yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff. That's just exciting to me. That's a hobby in itself, kind of just
Hmm.
keeping up with that kind of stuff. I check Splice probably every other morning I wake up when I'm just
Dude,
eating breakfast or whatever, just for fun, just to see what's out there.
dude, fuck is splice, and they have the like the AI splice thing. I don't know if you messed around with that too, where
I haven't
it's
messed around with that yet, but I've heard it's pretty cool.
it's it's so messed up because like seeing the evolution of samples but then also AI samples and how it's all kind of technically copyright free kind
Hmm.
of right with the thing
Kind of,
kind
yeah,
of kind of
yeah,
and seeing where things are going, it's one of those scary things of like I joke about it while I'm listening to music and sometimes even checking out like like gimmicky like AI metal bands, but I'm like in a couple years this is much
could be
more.
really sick. Yeah, we could be out of jobs easily.
Oh, that's I'm already got there's AI streamers, did you know that?
I did not know that. That's horrifying.
It's horrifying. Yeah.
Are they decent?
I mean, they're better than you would think. That's the scary part.
Okay.
They're not like, okay, like yeah, like that's a human, but they're like you shouldn't be able to keep up and reply and activate based
Yeah.
on commands this well in real time. Like that's kind of fucked up. Like I'm not okay
Yeah,
with this right now. So
that's super bizarre.
I just have to AI myself one day. It's
There
not
you go. I mean, that sounds great. I'd
it's
love to AI myself. I'd love to be able to just type in a sentence and somebody like a robot screams it for me and sounds exactly like me.
because you can AI your own voice. Like I don't know if you
Yeah,
messed around with that. Even it's probably
not
like
yet.
I'm not a vocalist, so like I feel like if I was a vocalist, I'd want to do that just so I don't have to set everything up and get in the mode. Like just AI your best stems ever. Train a
Yeah.
computer on your best screams, your best sings, and then you can literally just fucking write with your AI self. That's
Dude,
trippy.
sign me up yesterday. I'm so down. At least for like demo purposes. You know what I
Yes.
mean? How cool would it be to have all your scratch vocals just like you type them out, pick the notes? Like, man, that sounds like a dream. But yeah, that rides a very thin line that scares the shit out of me.
Here's the shit. I mean, just, yeah, man. 2 months, 3 months. Let's go, man. AI is gonna do its thing, and well, at least then you have to sell Landon vocal packs of yourself. That's a whole new
Yeah, fuck
animal.
it. They can have my voice. I don't care. Just cut me a big check. I'm out of here.
Just cut me a big check out. I mean, that's where it's gonna eventually go in a very scary but interesting way. And
Yeah, you'll
there's
just sell your likeness.
just yeah, literally,
Yeah,
that's the only thing left. No one wants to buy my likeness. I'm sorry, Chad. That's not happening here. But like, yeah,
I'll
with
throw you an offer.
You'll do- Do you know, I had do you know, I don't know if you know Craig from Stray. He's certified funny UK man. But
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm sure you've maybe heard of the fake genre called baddiecore going around nowadays.
I don't think I've heard of that.
Okay, so Landon, I'm going to describe baddiecore to you now because this is
Okay.
important. So now
Perfect.
everyone mistakes baddiecore for it having to be inherently have some kind of sexual innuendo with it. You know, like there's big bands.
Hmm.
And you see on TikTok, there's like thirst traps and all this. And chat's already like, Nick, we've talked about this too much. Don't go into this, but we have to. This is for educational purposes, okay?
For sure.
And you know, this music that basically is like it has a sexual feel, like it has the vibe, but it's not inherently
Hmm.
a sensual thing. Like the lyrics could have nothing to do with it at all.
Yeah.
But it's a genre of music, a subset of core, which has breakdowns. Yet
Hmm.
you will probably see on TikTok people doing thirst traps to it because it has that feel to it. So this is how I describe baddiecore to people.
Hmm.
And I bet you guys have some baddie songs here and there. I'm sure that like have that feel. Maybe not like thematically,
Maybe.
but you're like,
Yeah.
okay, like this could you know you could see this in a strip club maybe like that kind of vibe,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And I was talking with Craig and we were talking about buying likeness, and he was like, you know, you can buy the trademark for baddiecore right now. So I'm thinking about going in with the trademark
I
on
wonder
this.
how much that would set you back.
He said on stream $7,000.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's
I'll
not.
go halvesies with you on that.
Yo, we got Landon on here. Because like
You promised me this will be lucrative.
this will, I think it'll be pretty lucrative. You know, it's
Okay.
lucrative when Spotify makes the playlist for it.
That's true.
They called it a lure though, like a lure, and there's a
Oh, yeah?
a picture of like a woman sucking a strawberry, but it's that music, and it's half of it's Deftones, even though Deftones doesn't do the breakdown
course.
life, but
Yeah.
it's a thing. It's a thing
Yeah.
happening, and
I believe it.
you-
So the end of that one Sleep Token song, that would probably be like peak.
that's that is, you know, like bow
God
to
tier.
the baddies. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Okay. I get what you're saying.
That's peak baddiecore. Bad Omens, even though they're not a sensual band, they make
I could see
baddiecore
that, yeah.
music. You know what
I'm
see,
sure, yeah.
Landon, you get it, right? Some people,
Yeah.
they're not getting it, and they're misinterpreting that it has to all be sensual. But it's
Yeah.
the vibe that's sensual, not the lyrics. Right?
Okay.
You probably didn't expect to come on stream today to
No,
learn
that's
this.
fine. You learn something new every day. I guess I know the next type of song that I need to write.
Right, dude, you would kill it because you have that R&B voice too when you sing. You would kill it with a baddiecore banger. I could see it.
All right, I'll do my best.
Dude, that's Weekend Synths gets Splice. You know the Weekend. Let's fucking go.
I know the
R&B.
Splice.
I've heard of Splice before. R&B synths, get that shit rolling. You know the vibe with the electronic drums, and then you down tune the guitar pitch a whole octave when you need to.
And then you sing a little falsetto, I'm sure.
We're right
you go.
now witnessing the making of the plot of new baddiecore track. It's going. All right.
And you're gonna do a feature, right?
I would love to do a feature. I'll do whatever
All right.
y'all need. I have to wear my clothes though. I'm gonna keep the clothes.
That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
No one
we
needs
can
to see
do that.
this. No one needs to see this. But yes, with all of that, I think we talked a little bit about it last time when I had you on the show. But obviously, Feel Nothing, huge banger, and ginormously successful. It's you guys got, is it gold or platinum? What is the? I'm so
It's
bad.
gold. I think it's like close to platinum.
That's fuck.
Yeah.
Good. Like, dude, congrats. That's fucking awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Because I remember when you guys came out with that. I did a guitar cover back when I was doing that back in the day.
Yeah, I think you told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a cool song. And I know initially like it just did well, but it wasn't like the, you know, boom, boom, like ginormous, huge thing. What was the moment when that track, because I didn't even keep track. I just noticed one day, oh wow, like this track from like I think 6 years ago now or 5. I don't know. We're in 2024.
Yeah, I think it came out 2018.
Jesus.
So yeah, when it came out, it was definitely like, I mean, it was almost instantly our top song,
Right.
like out of everything we'd ever put out, which was cool. It gave us like maybe like 6 to 9 months of hype,
Yeah.
like around it, which was like the longest we'd ever had hype around a song, and then it kind of fizzled out as
Right.
like singles always do.
Mm.
And then COVID, I think it was like right around when COVID first started, like within the first like 6 months of that, people started telling me like, or like tagging me in like athletes videos of them using the song, or like weightlifters and stuff like
Athletes.
that. And then it kind of moved into like, I don't know, like people riding motorcycles, monster trucks, stuff like that. And I was like,
Hell
damn,
yeah.
this is starting to get some momentum. And then I remember like when it really first hit me, somebody sent me a video of like Jake Paul made a video to it, and then
Actually.
it was on like Sports Center and like a bunch of other things, like all within like the course of a couple months. I was
All
like,
right.
oh shit, like this is actually like
Right.
becoming a thing. Um, and then yeah, like after COVID, we played some shows for the first time in a long time, and that song just went off like no song had ever gone off before for us,
Right.
and we're just like, holy shit, this is wild. And
That's wild.
yeah, that's just crazy. I have no idea like what started it or anything. It was just like
Hmm.
such a bizarre snowball effect.
I'd
But
sport. I didn't expect like that makes like working out sports realm. That's such a cool random parallel. That someone think about one day
very
someone just
random.
wanted some fucking gains right in the gym,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Yo, this song fucks," and they put
Yeah.
that on, and then their friends that watched that were like, "Yo, this is great for the gains," and then it just started this whole just like gym bro culture, sports culture of people throwing this in their playlist, and it becoming a bigger thing with that's so cool the 20
It was really
yeah.
weird. I guess I had never really understood the power of like TikTok, because I don't think I was even on TikTok around that time. I don't think I had an
That's
account or anything.
no one needs to be on TikTok even now, bro. It's gonna be banned, so don't
Yeah.
worry.
Yeah. So yeah, I had no idea for like the longest time like how viral it was actually going.
Hmm.
And until I think it was the Jake Paul thing where I was like, oh, okay, like that's actually pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah,
And then the streams of it started just like skyrocketing and stuff. But yeah, now I mean now we've kind of like we've come to the realization that these mediums like TikTok and stuff, these are like actually very important
yeah.
platforms and stuff that we kind of have to take seriously. Which I don't run any of that shit, but our team has
I
definitely
see.
taken it a lot more
Are
seriously.
you seem very like to yourself kind of and chill. Like, do you put on social media much or any of that? Like,
Not really, especially these days. I'm like, it's less and less every year.
yeah,
I don't know. I don't really care for it.
yeah.
Maybe that's just getting old. I don't know. I'm just
It's
not a fan of it.
It's healthier. There's
Dude,
nothing there.
for sure. The less I'm on it, the more mentally stable I feel. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, I grew up on MySpace and all that
Oh
stuff. So it was
shit.
like very much a part of my culture, lifestyle, and everything for a very long time.
Hmm.
And especially like the age of Twitter and all those things, it was just like I went through all that. So like to finally be able to disconnect from it, the further I get away from it, the more I'm just like, yeah, this feels so right.
Twitter's the worst. I feel like
It's a hellhole.
50% of bands would still exist if they didn't have Twitter. Because
Yeah,
they wouldn't have had someone tweet something stupid that got them
exactly.
canceled. So they
Yeah,
just
it's just too much output, dude. Like
it's
you
too
don't need to
much.
be saying every stupid thing that comes to your mind. You know what I mean?
Don't
If I
even.
were to tweet every thought that came to my brain, I would have been canceled like 10 years ago,
Every band, musician, and human would have been, yes, that is
Straight up.
exactly how
Yeah.
it goes, man.
So,
It's
yeah,
that's
I've
funny.
been off Twitter for like 3 or 4 years now, and that was just like the most liberating, awesome feeling ever.
There's
It was just like,
nothing. Twitter
thing is
is
trash.
yeah, it's X now. Okay, chat. Yeah, it's X now. No
X.
one calls it
Yeah.
X. That's the
Get out of
worst
here.
rebranding I've ever seen in my
It
life.
really is.
It's X. No one calls it
Yes.
Reds. The only okay, yeah, someone said in chat. The only valuable Twitter is Brandon Murphy's from Counterparts because it is fucking
Oh,
hilarious.
dude, he's hilarious. I've somehow stumbled
Yeah.
across some of his stuff on Twitter the last few years, and we have the same manager. So I'm always like,
Oh,
dude,
Tom.
yeah, we
Oh,
do.
no, sorry.
No, not Tom. Richard
Oh, Rich.
Hernandez.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, he's always saying some hilarious, like crazy shit. I'm like, damn, dude,
Well,
that's wild.
he's done it for so long that I think he kind of has the immunity at this point. Like he's earned
Yeah,
it. So it's like I feel like any
totally.
other vocalists that would say this exact same tweet, people would be like, "What are you?
Yeah,
What's wrong? What are you doing? What's wrong with you?" But like,
dude.
yeah,
Anytime I've seen him like bitch about how much he's hating a tour or just
Yeah.
like, I'm just like, God, I wish I had the balls to do that. There's been so many times I've wanted to complain about how depressed and miserable I am on tour, but
Right, but it's
just
just
can't do that.
that's why
I'd be
he's
too scared.
it's tough, man, because people go wild, and the internet's this place where just can't make everyone happy, anyways.
Yeah.
Twitter, especially Reddit. Reddit is its own fun cesspool
Yeah.
of whatever the fuck happens on there in the scene.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's not fun. It's not a vibe. You will leave either wasting your time because you're arguing with somebody half the time, or just being
Hmm.
unhappy. You don't gain
Yeah.
anything
There's
really.
no winning an argument on the internet. That doesn't happen.
No. No.
Both parties end stressed, more stressed than they were to begin with.
Yeah.
No one ever leaves an internet argument
Yeah.
stoked on their life.
You're like,
I don't think that's ever happened.
yeah, fuck yeah, Keyboard Warrior 69. I took that dude down. He had no
Yep.
chance
It's a
arguing with
lose
me.
lose every time.
Have you
And
have
then
you
it's up on the internet forever.
Yes, yes. And then you
Yeah.
see the fun headlines, and the headlines are always even funner. Because
Way fun.
you're like,
What were
great.
you about to say though?
The one thing I say out of context that is described out of context is the headline. That's my favorite
Yep.
fucking thing, man. That's
Yep.
it's so, and that's why I love having guests on here, because like I'm like, yo, come shoot the shit. I don't give a fuck. Like, we're gonna
Yeah,
hang and whatever. But I know there's a
for
lot
sure.
of musicians that are always scared, like, to do interviews or podcasts, because even if they're chill and not problematic people, all it takes is like, a musician, like them saying one thing, and then it's taken out of context, and then you see the headline,
Yep.
and then you have management going, what the fuck did you do? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Dude, yeah, honestly, I've been taking a lot less interviews the past like year or two just cuz not for that reason
right.
specifically, but it's just like I don't really want to have like just a bullshit like lame conversation. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to be very selective. The second you asked me, I was like, of course. Like,
Oh
you're
man.
very easy to talk to. But yeah, usually it's just like, I don't know, it's mundane shit,
Yeah.
and then yeah, you have to worry if you like really presented yourself in the way that you wanted to and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So it's just like, what's
Dude,
the point?
dude,
Just like,
there's no rules here. When I had Clown on, and we talked about Minecraft for an hour and a half, that's when I'm like, wow,
that's sick.
there's there's no rules here. People just come on, and they're not going to get anything they want already. So people already have
For
low
sure.
expectations when they tune into this show. So don't worry.
That's good to hear. I'm glad to hear
Now,
that.
speaking of Minecraft, do you throw a block? I have to ask every guest this at least
I
once.
don't. No, I
Okay.
don't. Pretty much the only game I play these days is Fortnite, and I don't know how I just randomly ended up getting back on. I played for like when it first came out, and then I
Right.
was
Yeah.
off it. But then I got a PlayStation out of nowhere as a gift, and it was like the one free thing that I could just get right off the rip.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of like I'll play a couple games when I first wake up, and then right before I go to bed, and that's about it.
I think every human played it because they wanted to play with Drake one day. That was like the thing.
Yeah,
And we're like, oh,
I think so.
that could be us playing with Drake Fortnite right now. So I
Yeah,
got to go farm my dubs, get the
exactly.
wins, bro. It's
Yeah, I'm pretty much just Fortnite, and then on tour, it's just Mario Kart, and Mario Golf, like
right,
a lot.
a
Yeah,
lot. Do
we
you
go hard
do
on
you
it.
fuck with any other games? Any other like guilty pleasure games where you're just like, oh man,
No,
it,
pretty much just those three: Mario Golf, Mario Kart, and Fortnite. That's like
did you
all I
did
fuck
you
with.
grow up on any MMOs or RPGs? Because those steal your soul.
I remember playing the the Toy Story game for PlayStation
Oh,
1.
okay,
I played that into the ground when I was a kid.
dude.
And I think some Crash Bandicoot. That was about it.
Oh, Crash goes hard as fuck, man.
Yeah, I've never been like crazy big into video games, but
Mhm.
yeah. When I find one I like, I run it into the ground.
You were on it, dude. I haven't played
Yeah.
like a single player game in a minute, because it's a weird
Yeah.
mentality now when you're, I guess, older, and also just nowadays, where it's like, I am sitting here and it is just me, and these accomplishments are just for me, and like that's cool, and people
Yeah.
get fine with that. But it's like, because everything's now like multiplayer, it's all about the internet.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like if I'm not playing multiplayer with the homies in some capacity, I am wasting
Yeah.
time. Because when you do that,
Totally.
you're
You need
accepting you're wasting time with the homies, though. It's different, right?
Yeah, you need the validation. You
Yes.
need to you
The
need someone to
validation.
know that you need somebody to know that you're good at that thing, or that you
Yes.
can overpower somebody
You
at a certain
can
thing.
overpower. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's a different
Yeah.
age, and especially now, people consuming just content, like you can just have fun playing games, and a lot of musicians play games and they'll like stream it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, like I can do that, and like also chat with
Mhm.
like some of my fans, and also like make like, I don't know, like $10 which is
for
cool.
sure.
Like,
Yeah, it's something.
have you thought about streaming? Because you're fun. You seem like you, especially even like you're a producer, so you are doing a lot of stuff. I guess you can't showcase the stuff which for bands, obviously they haven't released stuff, but like for even the
Yeah.
plot, like have you thought about streaming, showcasing that process or any of that?
Yeah, a little bit in the past. I do at some point really want to do some kind of like video breakdowns of like the production elements and
Mm.
like how songs come together. Because I think out of anything that I could do, I guess in that format, like that would, as far like band promo type stuff, they're
Yeah.
always asking me to do some kind of band promo type thing. I'm like, that's literally the only thing I could think of that
Have
I
you done
could be
vocal
somewhat.
playthroughs?
No, I think
No.
like once or twice, and I was just like, this just feels awkward. I don't like it.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's the
I don't
big
know. I don't
thing.
like it.
Yeah.
I've tried like all the typical things that band dudes do, and I think it's cool that people do that stuff. Like I think it's really cool. People enjoy doing playthroughs because I know other people really enjoy that.
Mm.
But I don't know what it is for me. I just feel really awkward doing that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So yeah, the one thing I could think of that I would find maybe some enjoyment in is like going through my sessions and kind of explaining like all the
Mm.
layers and like how I made the layers and like how certain ideas came to be about those kind of things. That is something that's like intriguing to me.
Mm.
I don't know if you've ever watched like Nail the Mix videos or anything like
Oh
that.
yeah, I know
I
Nail
like
Mix.
really really like watching some of those. I'll even go back to the same ones sometimes just because I like to hear the perspective on like what why they made the choices that they made and stuff
Mm.
like that. So I could see myself being into doing something like that. But yeah, as far as like most of the other stuff, I'm not really. I don't know. That just it doesn't feel like me for
Yeah.
some reason.
Yeah. It's
I don't know. I'm weird about that kind of stuff.
what's your day? Are you what's your day today? Describe a day in the life of Landon. What do we got going here?
Dude, when
Averagely.
I'm home, I'm like really, really boring.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I, I really, really enjoy like the same routine. Like that's
Mm.
why I think tour is really hard for me is because I don't get to live the same day
Mm.
over and over.
Right.
So usually I wake up, make myself a breakfast. I sit in the sauna for like half hour to 45 minutes,
That's a vibe. Did you
kind
write
of
any
catch up on
bangers in the
email.
sauna? Sorry to cut you off, but this is an important
No,
question.
I haven't done that,
Oh,
but
okay.
I read a lot of boring emails and send a lot of boring emails.
Yeah.
And then I have an ice bath. I was doing that for a while.
Oh
And
shit.
then yeah, it's usually I just like then go to my computer, work for a couple hours. Usually I'll take a break, walk my dogs, hang out with my wife, and then it's back to work. And then towards the end of the night, I just like watch and read videos on like history or whatever I'm into at that time, and then go to bed and repeat.
That's a vibe. I think a lot of
It's
people
very
don't understand that. That's yeah. Most musicians, this is life.
yeah.
Like it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, yeah. I'm very fortunate that my favorite thing to do in the world is the thing that I get paid to do. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like I could sit on my computer and just, write or mix something for hours and hours every single day and never get bored with it.
Mm.
I for whatever reason, it's the one thing that does not get boring for me
Yeah.
because it's like a puzzle that's never finished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're never done with a mix. There's always ways to make improvements in everything. So it's like, I don't know, it's a very exciting challenge for me that never stops being exciting.
Is there a plot
So,
track that you even yourself you look back and you're like, I cooked too hard on this. Like this was way too much of
oh,
a cook.
totally. Yeah, the opening song for Swan Song, I probably hyper fixated on that for like 2 months.
Oh fuck.
Like, yeah, like not like 6 hours a day for
Right.
two
Right.
months, but like coming back to it way too much and just like making tiny EQ decisions that no one will ever appreciate or care about.
Right.
Stupid stuff like that. Yeah, I've definitely done way more of that kind of stuff than I'd like to admit.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, sometimes it's just fun though. It's not even about
Mm.
really anything else. Just like I'm enjoying the process of doing that. And even if I'm the only person that knows how much went into it and like how much
Mm.
thought went into these little transitions, like I don't know, at least I'll still get that enjoyment
You.
listening back to it.
Well,
You
that's
know.
that's important. Making bangers for yourself. I feel like that's
Yeah.
something some musicians, not it's kind of lost.
Hmm.
They get so used to, oh, this is my
Yeah.
job now, and I have to make music. I have to make the album to satisfy the
Hmm.
the record requirements for the labels and all this shit. Instead of just like, yo, I want to make a banger so I can go to the gym and fucking get the extra reps like for myself. Like
Yeah.
it's so important for I think for musicians to have that for themselves and write for themselves first before anybody really.
that is one thing I think I would pride myself on more than almost anything as far as our band goes. It's like every single song I've ever
Mm.
released or made has been a complete labor of love. I've never had to force anything or
Yeah.
just like put something out just because we needed to put something out. I feel like everything I've put out I've like really been behind and put everything into.
Mm.
Because again, it's just fun for me. I just like really genuinely love the art form and extremely passionate about it. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, again, like the fact that I get to live doing this, like make a living doing it, is pretty incredibly special.
Hell yeah.
But
Does plot
it's
show
cool.
up in your top 5 Spotify Wrapped?
Dude, I never look every year because I'm scared. I'm always just like, God, I'm gonna feel like such a loser if it's like, I don't know. I never want to know, so I never look. I know it's gonna be some embarrassing shit.
Bro, I straight up my shit, like I do it every year, like for content with chat. And I have zero shame at this point. Like it's every time, it's always my shit.
You're in your top 10?
I'm in my top 10. I'm like, guys, look, you can never say I fucking sold out because I definitely make this shit for me and not you guys. So like fucking deal.
Yeah.
But like it's like, yeah, it's there. And you're like, yeah, guys,
I,
that's what
a lot. Another thing too, though, for me is I kind of have to before most tours. I kind of have to go back and listen to older songs to remember the lyrics.
mm,
Because I just can't remember my own lyrics to save my life.
right.
I actually realized on that Beartooth tour that we just did that I'd been singing one of our songs wrong for the past 3 years, like singing the wrong lyrics. Yeah, it was like super embarrassing. I listened to the recorded version because I thought I had it in the bag. I was like, oh, and then I heard it. I think it came on at a bar that we were at just randomly. I was like, holy shit, I've been singing the wrong lyrics for like
Just like
3 years.
imagine that
Uh,
epiphany just at a bar, just out, out chilling. You're like, oh,
you can
sick.
look.
Wait.
Yeah, if anyone's listening, if you want to look it up, it's hilarious. It's called "The One You Love." If you want to watch a live video of it, I've been singing it wrong for the last like 3 years. If you want to compare it to the album version,
That must be so funny for fans that are super hardcore too and like know every
yeah, they're
single
probably like,
line and they're like
"This guy having a fucking stroke." Like,
just for 3 years, just like what the fuck? Like, wait,
yeah.
am I wrong? Is that the lyric? Like that kind of like
Honestly, I could be fucking up way more, and I don't even know. It's totally possible.
I wish vocalists would do that, like just act like subtly gaslight their entire audience and just like
Yeah,
change lyrics here and there and like just
yeah.
but make it sound like it's right, and then just for like years just like all the songs at the end have different lyrics and then people are like, what happened? This
Might as well.
just why not?
You gotta you gotta do whatever you have to do to keep yourself entertained.
Just there's bands that definitely just at some points with some of the screams just make noise. They just make the noise. They don't even fucking bother to know what the words were.
Oh, dude, in my first few bands,
Yeah,
we used to play shows and we would like we would only have like 3 or 4 songs. So we'd have to like
yeah.
we'd come up with instrumentals and I would just make up lyrics on the spot. And usually like the screaming parts were just sounds. I wasn't saying anything. And I remember we did that for like years. There were songs that we had that had no lyrics. They were just like sounds that we would make.
Yeah, so it's just modern deathcore. There you go. That's
Yeah,
fucking fair. That's insane.
it was great.
Jesus, man. Well, Landon, I guess, dude, I've had you for a minute. I guess I'll just ask, as
You're
I
good.
always ask, any things you can announce here that doesn't get you in trouble with management or label, obviously, that you can tell the people what to look forward to, plotting you, whatever you're doing, producing stuff. That it's all for you. What are things to look forward to in the coming days, weeks, months?
Yeah, so the rest of this year we have a decent amount of songs coming out. I can
Okay,
say that. I can't give an exact number because honestly I don't even know.
fair.
But a certain amount of songs are coming
Mhm.
out between the end of this year. By the end of this year,
Right.
we just locked in like quite a few different things tour wise just within the last like month or so.
Sick.
One of which is like an actual dream tour that I've wanted to do
Oh,
since I can remember.
shit. Okay.
So I can't say what that is yet, but we're doing some headline shit. We're doing Europe.
Mhm.
I'm doing Australia with Dayseeker solo, and then I'm doing a show in Japan
Uh-huh.
solo. So that'll be cool.
Mhm.
And then yeah, I'm also producing a bunch of shit, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sick.
tons of writing, tons of touring, just keeping busy.
Keeping busy, man. Keep it
Yeah.
fucking going. Well, let's go again. Everybody, can we
Always.
get some claps for Landon Tours of the Plot in You? Show the homie the love. Check out the new bangers. They're dummy thick good, as always.
Thanks, dude.
And,
Appreciate it.
dude, of course. And when you guys throw down, you know I got you. Just slide in the DMs. Be like, we got the
For sure.
dummy thick banger, or we got the vibe R&B track. I like both. Throw them on. I don't give a fuck. Let's go.
Oh yeah, thank you, dude. I appreciate you having me. It's always a pleasure.
Anytime, dude. Landon Tours, everyone. Show the homies the love. And, dude, thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope you have
Absolutely.
a nice
Anytime.
sauna, ice bath.
Thanks, bro.
And, yeah, dude, we'll keep in touch. All right.
Oh yeah.
Have a good
Take
one,
care,
dude.
man. Thank you
See
so
ya.
much.
Have a good one, dude. Bye.
Later, guys.